Let's give it a practice. Hey, we're Glizzy Gillespie, and this is The Journey.
All right, yeah.
Like a WB commercial, you know?
Or should we?
Hi guys, I'm Liv, this is Tony, and this is Glizzy Gillespie. We are here today with Couch Sessions The Journey, episode 6, and ready to get started?
Yeah.
I'm ready too.
All right, guys, well, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us very much.
So, I think the first question I want to know is, where are you guys from?
Here.
Here, yeah.
Both of you
Yeah.
are from Ocala?
Yeah, I was born and raised. Taylor was almost born here.
Yeah, I was born in Connecticut, and we lived there for like a year and a half. My dad was in the Navy, and then we moved back to Florida, to Ocala when I was like a year and a half old. So I don't know any different, but I don't like sweet tea. And people tell me this because I wasn't born in the South. Thank goodness,
Yeah, that
because
makes sense,
sweet
yeah.
tea's garbage.
Oh,
So bad.
do you like unsweet tea?
More than sweet tea.
Yeah. Nux right
Weird.
here.
Sugar-flavored swamp water.
Nice.
Gross.
But that sounds exactly like what you would like to drink.
And what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, there's that. It kind of looks like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And how did you guys meet?
We were at a party together. Both had instruments. We ended up knowing the same song. I like to improvise, just like solo on top of stuff, and he's like the chord songwriter type. You know, like he's definitely the songwriter of the group.
Chords and singing. It's pretty much my...
Cool.
So we just showed up, knew the same song, and just ended up playing, and for a long time.
And then
night,
we
yeah.
just got on immediately. Was that the Dead Celebrity theme party?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Ooh.
That was a good
What
party.
were you?
I was Jim Morrison
Yeah.
because it was the laziest
Yeah.
costume I could think of. I showed up with no shirt, black pants, and a half-drank bottle of whiskey in my hand.
Perfect.
So, I want to hear about these EDT days. So,
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
English Star Tavern?
no,
man.
it's not called a coffee.
No, now it's everyone's drinking tavern.
When did-
Oh,
I was gonna
come
be like,
on,
Bro,
man.
Bro, when did Nardwar come into the interview right
I
now?
know,
talking about the
dude, that's a
EDT
deep
days?
cut, yeah.
That's a deep cut.
So I learned about them playing there, and it's funny because Olivia's brother, I don't know if you guys know Nate, he's playing around town now.
Oh,
he
yeah.
actually started at EDT's. He was
Yeah.
over there doing some karaoke and stuff
He
like that.
comes into Malort when he has shows on the
Yep.
square like
Yeah.
a psychopath would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love
Nailed it.
I love Nate.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah. So tell us about that. How did you guys get over there, first of all, and then what, made you guys start doing music for them?
Honestly, it's a lot like the whole Tenacious D thing. It's just open mic.
Yeah,
We
it
could
was-
just show
it
up.
was-
We were never
So
we
it
were
was
never
a-
booked, but we were the
Was it
only
open
consistent
mic?
people.
Was
Yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
hosting it, or was it just kind of like, hey, show up and play music?
Well, a lot of the nights had karaoke, so there was a guy who knew the
Yeah.
sound system and like could set up our minimal setup really easily.
Host is a strong word for that, though.
Yeah.
I don't think he was. I don't think he was really hosting.
Hello, welcome.
Yeah.
EDT.
He had the mic.
He knew how to work the dials.
Yeah. He had a.
Did we play music at EDT's?
Yeah.
I don't know if,
Well, some would call it music.
but did we
Looking
play
back, I don't know if
together?
I would. Yeah.
All right, so you guys were kind of fiddling around, messing with some stuff, playing some shows here and there, taking on stuff. But when did you guys actually form the band and like consider your first like official show as Glizzy?
Oh, that was like a little over a year and a half ago.
Okay.
December. Yeah.
It was like 2
This-
days before Christmas. It was like the 22nd or 23rd
Yeah.
of
Mutiny was dope.
December.
Okay. Shoot.
Sam asked me if I could open up for some bands that were playing, and I said yes, and I immediately contacted Kyle because he's always been my go-to. If I need a +1 for
Yeah.
a show that I'm not telling anyone about,
Right. So that was at
I call Kyle, yeah. And when I asked him, he was like, "No, I'm playing bass," and I was like, "Cool." And then Sam asked me what we wanted to be put on the flyer as, and we didn't have a name. And the day after that, I was wearing a shirt I described on the Ocala podcast. I'm pretty sure I had the shirt on. It has a picture of Dizzy Gillespie that a person had like transposed him into a hot dog kind of, and he was like
Okay.
blasting ketchup out of his trumpet. This artist friend of mine from St. Pete used to call me Glizzy Gillespie in his phone because my Instagram's gas station hot dog, and
Oh my god.
we used to just make hot dog jokes all the time at work. I don't know. And so like he ordered this picture he made as a shirt and gave it to me, and it's like one of my most favorite and most like custom shirts I have in my entire life. And I was wearing that shirt and explaining that whole story to Buck Martin, and then it clicked, and I was like, that's the name. And I texted Kyle immediately, because we're very 50-50, and we always make sure the other one's cool with whatever decision we're making. And he said, hell yeah. And I ran to Sam like it had not been a one day since he asked me. Like the flyer had been made up with my poor worst name. And I like ran to the other bar that he was just in there doing like paperwork or something. And I was like, Glizzy Gillespie! It's Glizzy Gillespie. And he's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And I was like, the name we want. I calmed down and he was like, oh, that's funny. Great. And he put it on, you know. He didn't have to like tailor your brilliant notion that I wanted him to have, thinking that was coming. But, but it was fine. I was excited. So,
So when he threw that name at you, did you get visuals in your mind?
Immediately loved it. Yeah, I loved it. It's a great name. What's funny is because like it's a perfect split too. It makes a lot of sense for us as musicians too. He's definitely Glizzy and I'm the Gillespie. Like the influences that go into there, it makes sense. So I immediately loved the name.
So we played the first show, which was I wanted to do when our first set was nothing but original songs. Because Kyle was down to work through, I've been writing music for like 15 years with no outlet. And so it was nice. I just started showing him original music and he was like, hey, I love this. Here's a sweet bass line for it. And we just practiced in my living room. And it turned out really great. And they immediately wanted to start booking us with more shows. We started getting some out of town shows pretty quickly too.
The best.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your songwriting process. I know you said that you do most of the songwriting and then you add the flavor to it, but
yeah,
how does that look? Do you start with lyrics first, or do you start with kind of a melody that gets stuck in your head, or how does that?
Well, little column A, little column B.
Yeah.
Little column C, where I just find a cool chord progression that I like, and then I'll get that stuck in my head. But sometimes I'll get
column 4
completely like a real song, somebody else's song stuck in my head, but I don't know the words, so I like just fills in.
Yeah.
And I wish I had more control over that. But it's nice being able to just write it down. And then I'll pick a completely different chord progression to make sure I don't rip this song off in any way, shape, or form. And then I have to basically find a whole new melody for the words that were written for a song that already exists. Sometimes I just find a cool chord progression that I like. And then sometimes I do just wake up with a song in my head and I write it down. Most of my songs were finished like in a day. If I don't finish a song in a week and I start trying at it, it comes out bad.
How many songs have you done like that?
Oh, like most of them.
No, they come out bad.
Oh, that come out bad?
Yeah.
Oh, more than I have written that came out good. Man, if I finished every song I ever wrote, I'd have way more than like 30 songs.
Yeah.
But that's where we're kind of at right now. Like the writing process is, like I said, all of our songs that we're coming out with now, and that's why we're coming out with so many. We're gonna do 2 10-song albums. I think we settled on instead of a 20-song full length, because I always really liked those old punk albums that were like 16, 18 songs long.
Yeah.
Most of them are 2 minutes max.
Yeah.
Where it seems like they went into the studio with 8 really good songs and then fucked around until they had twice as many.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love that feeling, but we just live in a different time. Nobody's just gonna like pop the album on to listen to it, or
we're trying to put the business into our decisions.
It sucks. I hate social media too, but I have to do that shit. Ooh. And I'm not a big fan of technology. That's why all my instruments are acoustic. But so this is an amalgamation of all the songs I've been writing for 15 years with no outlet, and we're coming out with 20 more and 2 10-song. We're actually having a meeting about it later. I'd have a lot more information about this if we did this tomorrow.
Right.
Which is funny.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
At like 7 o'clock, we're going to be having a hard sit down with the people recording us, Josh Jacobs and Kindred Studios.
Okay.
And
Yeah, it's mostly just bass stuff that needs to get done, and then production, just working things out per song. But it won't be too long before the album's out.
Yeah.
We're getting the very special Doug Adams to rip a fat bluesy solo on one of our songs today.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: when you guys do the album, when you play live, you have whatever instrument you're playing, the bass, and then kicking the
Suitcase,
thing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So for the
Kicking
album,
our drummer.
are
Play
you
the bass,
adding-
kick the case.
Yeah.
For the album, are you adding anything more to it, or are you going to try to keep
Oh,
it more like what
definitely.
you did with
There will be no suitcase on the album. I pray.
What?
I pray.
No. The Suitcase is a live bit.
I honestly, I play drums too. I want to try to add some actual drums onto the album. I think that'd be cool to get that done. Some different percussive work, because there's a lot of songs that could use minor percussion, but we're trying to approach the album like, what can we not necessarily do live, but what doesn't push it too far to where we can't do it live? You know, we don't want it to be unrecognizable, but we also have some songs where we do plan on having specifically like an album version and a live version.
Okay.
We like a lot of our songs to be a little different live than how we have it recorded, because it gives you a reason to come see us live.
Yeah.
You know, I honestly, it's cool when a band can be so consistent that I can go see them in concert and they play the album that they just came out with, and it's great and it sounds just like the album, and it's like, wow, that was clean. What's new?
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I could have stayed at home and listened to this exact same sound for free.
Yeah.
I already bought the album, you know?
Yeah, I love when they do like a really long intro or kind of mesh the two
Yeah, or
songs
just
together.
something a little different,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and we're
Something
also,
to make that live experience special, and that's what we're really all about, is making the live experience special. It's speaking of our name from earlier, it's been hard for us to get shows because people think that we sing about hot dogs and we're some kind of jokey band, but we're not at all. It's just a jokey name and theme at this point. But then any venue that's ever had us play live come up and they're like, that was super fun.
Yeah.
When do you want to be back? You know, hit us
Yeah.
up, let us
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
We've been welcome back to any place we've ever played.
Yeah.
But it is like pulling teeth to get to a place sometimes.
So you guys have you just got back from doing a couple shows out of state, right?
Yeah,
You
we went on a little tour with this great band called Confession Kids out of Gainesville.
Yeah,
We
they're
actually just went to
yeah,
Gainesville last week.
Recorded a little bit of guest vocals on something.
Some like gang vocals on one of their songs that I'm really excited about. I'm excited to have any of their songs on a listening site, because we pitch them so often and they just haven't had any music up there. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
but they're good friends of ours and they invited us on this tour. JG has some family in Athens.
I think Athens, yeah.
Yeah, Athens.
Georgia or Greece?
Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gosh, if we could play in Greece.
Oh.
I don't know if he has any family in Athens, Greece. I only know about the Georgia family.
Okay.
I don't think they'd like us in Greece.
What?
Oh, you'd be surprised,
Oh.
man. American music going over there,
Bro.
they dig it.
I mean, as much as I love Greece, I assume they'd love me a little bit.
Well, Greece is the word.
All right, so tell us a story from the road.
So the night before we left,
Oh.
a friend of ours, Brooke,
Forgot about that.
that works at Publix, she came through and she had like
A case. It
eight
was like a-
cases of loaves of bread.
So much
It was
bread.
like for this event, they didn't use all of it, so they had
Wait,
just
like
given
homemade
it.
Publix bread?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
like-
were just
Oh,
loaves, and they were
bro.
baked
Yeah.
like that day.
yeah.
And they're like,
so
but they're
good.
not going to use any of these.
That is a gift.
That is good.
Yeah.
So we, not the night before we left, the night we left,
Yeah.
because we played a show here. We played like my showcase here.
You played Showcase.
played
I was
Showcase.
working.
He worked.
And then immediately
and
after
we
drove
left.
to
And we took
Marriott,
we took
Georgia?
a whole box of
Something
that
like
bread. There's
Macon.
easily 20 loaves of bread
yeah.
in this. Just that like nice like squishy mountain bread.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Just like stood in the middle of the venue while Confession Kids played and just ate a loaf of bread. Just really unhinged, just sat there. And I was like breaking pieces off, trying to offer it to people.
They're like,
Because I thought to myself, nobody's ever gonna, like most of these people are probably never gonna see me again.
right.
Yeah.
And if they do, they're gonna be like, oh, that's that dude that ate the bread during that show. He was in that band and he just started eating bread afterwards. He unpacked all
Yeah.
the stuff. He came in, didn't say a word to anybody, and just started eating a loaf of bread
Crushed.
straight.
Yeah, right there.
Our original plan, though, was we were going to show up, we were going to play a song, thank you, and toss a loaf of bread.
Oh,
Bread
yeah.
into the crowd.
And then we'd play another song, and we would just toss out a loaf of bread
Just
after
keep
every
tossing a loaf of bread
song.
after every single song. Yeah.
So next time we get a case of bread.
Next time we get a case of bread, that's what we're
That's a
gonna do.
good idea.
Yep.
But it was also, we're in a basement. It was a really low ceiling. It was not a bread throwing
Yeah.
venue.
It wasn't
would
a
have been
tossable
me
venue,
pelting
yeah.
it at the first 6 people in the crowd.
Thank you.
And that would have only been fun the first
handing
6 times.
Here you go, man.
A nice soft loaf to the
Yeah.
So August 4th
Yeah.
is Couch Sessions.
Yes.
And you guys have got 2 hours. Typically, I think musicians go through about 5 songs.
No.
Or,
Anywhere from 6 to 9.
so you guys
Nice.
go through like 30.
Yeah.
love
so,
that.
so you guys,
Love that spread.
yeah, 6 to 9.
Yeah. 6 to
which
9
is,
sounds nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6 to 9 is good. I definitely, whenever people are like, the first time they're doing this or they haven't seen the Couch Sessions before, they're like, okay, I got the set list and I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's 20 songs. Pick your favorite 8.
We have some short songs.
Yeah.
You were there for Nate. And,
Yeah.
And
Nate Ron.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
right,
right.
yeah.
You were working bar that day, weren't you?
No, yeah, I was working bar that
Yeah.
day. Yep. And he finished that Lenny that he hung. We hung in Mutiny like
Yeah.
immediately after
Right.
that.
You're
yeah.
like, oh.
So yeah, we're gonna go through. You guys are gonna do some songs, but mostly what happens at Couch Sessions, I think, is we kind of get into conversations. You know, the audience is there to hear your music, but also to kind of get to know you guys a little bit better and kind of hear your story and your journey to where you're at then, and then also, you know, kind of where you're going. Like, what's the next step for the band? And I think you guys touched on it about, you know, exploring new sounds, and it's evolving like you guys are.
Yeah.
You know,
And honestly, it'll be really great because, like I mentioned earlier, we're meeting with the people recording us, and we are having a pretty strong meeting of what is next for us. So
Yeah.
it was hard for me to answer today, but if you come to Couch Sessions, I will have some of those answers.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how long do you think it's going to be until the album is out? So I know there's mixing and sometimes that stuff is out of your control.
Ideally before the year is out.
Okay.
Oh, I would say definitely before the year's out.
If it's
'Cause
not
the
before
stuff-
the year's out, it's gonna be, we'd be lagging pretty hard on our part,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And when we really start hammering it down, we're fine to play less shows and focus on this. And, you know, we do a lot of this stuff weekdays so that we can leave our weekends open for shows.
Yeah.
If you're watching this and you want to book us on a show, Saturday is the best day for us.
If you were
I
still
think Mutiny has really become quite the venue.
Oh, it's
It is
Yeah.
nice to have that, and I really think that, I know you guys have been part of that, so great job on what you're doing over there, because
Thank you.
it's giving bands the opportunity to come.
Yeah.
I know, and I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I heard you guys talk a little bit about going to K&K and some of the churches that were hosting like bands back in the day. We went to those same places.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think there was like a moment there where there was nothing. Like if you
Yeah.
were a new
It
band
was.
coming out, where the
It-
heck did you play?
It
Yeah.
died
Parties.
at a certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and then
really did die. You could
But
try to play at
we-
O'Malley's, but it was like strictly hardcore for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, and
Like,
they O'Malley's wants to come to you for a show, not you to come to them for a show.
Yeah.
For the most part. They like bigger acts, and I don't blame them. They have the space to do so, and they want to make money off of their shows.
Yeah.
But we're not necessarily that way at Mutiny, where we pay the bands. We don't do a door generally. The only time we did a door, actually, DRI, talking about how special a place is Mutiny. DRI, Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, came through. It was the only show we've ever ticketed. We sold out of the tickets. It was a great show,
Huge show.
and
Yeah.
one of the members of DRI was telling Sam, he was in Colorado, and they were talking about the rest of their tour, and they saw that they were playing, somebody saw that they were playing in Ocala, Florida, or just Florida in general, and they said, out in Colorado, they said, you should check out this place, Mutiny, I heard about.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, this guy's never been there before.
That's
He
awesome.
just heard about it.
yeah.
And the guy from DRI was telling us we have a very special spot
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and it is. And
Yeah,
honestly,
very much.
what you were saying,
Very
like
much
those
so.
bands died out because there was nowhere to play.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's hard getting out of town shows, especially like a lot of out of town people. I feel like look down on Ocala or music in some way, shape, or form. But you never know where you're going to find an artist. So when you encounter one of those people, like screw them.
Right.
They don't know what they're looking for. So
A lot of it, true,
We've
is
seen a lot more bands come
Yeah.
through, come and start.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Because there's a place for
It's-
it now.
and it's consistent.
I want to plug
Yeah.
my local music showcase. It's the last Sunday of every
Yeah.
month.
Okay.
Summer's been really slow, so I don't have a lot of musicians that have come to me about it. But I had a flood of musicians, and I host an artist once a month too, and I've just had a flood of people coming to me wanting to do this event because it comes out and it's really nice. It's chill. It's not the same like punk show that you would normally go to at Mutiny. People come there for the music, and it's a place for you to come and like try your new material out that you've never played in front of
Oh, that's great.
anyone before, and it's
Yeah.
just like a comfortable, nice place for you to come and like work on your material live.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on the show today. This is
our
gonna be.
pleasure.
I can't wait. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, it's gonna
I'm
be
so
good.
excited.